Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful tasting with the Virtual Tasting Society. My name is Vadim Perlovsky, and today we are excited to taste some rum. It's been a while since we've done some rum, so long overdue. We're excited today to partner with Colors of Rum, based in Poland. But they're sourcing barrels of rum all over the world, and we have in front of us some amazing casks, 6 different expressions ranging from 15 years old to 33 years old. We have some seasoned tasters in the room. Welcome, everyone. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember that this is a participatory event. So we invite you to ask questions, share tasting notes, use the chat, unmute yourself, participate. This is not an Instagram live or a YouTube channel where you can't ask questions, like we're here to have fun. We're here to get nerdy. That's what we're all here for. That said, we're excited to have Magda join us, not from Poland, but I'll let her talk about where she's at. Yeah, other than that, enjoy, taste, feel free to pre-pour. These are cask strength. I think something's like, one of them is like 67%, right? So, pace yourselves. You know how to drink at this point. Keep yourself on mute unless you're actively participating. And if I see that you're unmuted, I will mute you unless you're talking, just so we don't have background noise and talking over each other. I think that's it. I went long-winded on this one. Magda, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why we're here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vadim. So my name is Magda Reszke, and I've been the brand ambassador of Colors of Rum for now like 2 years. The Colors of Rum is a brainchild of a company called Whelp Solutions, which have been like 15 years on the market, and we've been doing whiskey releases before so we had been doing whiskey releases before we did rum. And I've been with the company for the last year. So I started my love for spirits with whiskey, Scotch whiskey. Then I somehow moved to also Kentucky bourbon and some other whiskey. But then my recent love is rum. So I'm usually Warsaw based, but now I'm in Slovenia because I decided to do some climbing here. And if you hear some noises around me, please excuse me, but I'm in a hotel, so it's not my natural. Well, climbing and rocks are my actually natural environment, but this is not the place where I usually run the tastings from. So let's Vadim shared the drinking order, right? So we divided it into like 3 parts. So Barbados, Guyana, and Jamaica. I like starting with Barbados because those rums are the most more refined and elegant. And I love to finish with Jamaica because these are usually heavy notes. Maybe not the highest ester ones, but the heavy ones. So, and Uitvlugt and Enmore just would place them somewhere in between. I prepared
home on the recording. We're going to be doing Foursquare 22-year-old, Foursquare 5-year-old, Foursquare 22, then 15, then
yes.
How's the next one?
The next one is Uitvlugt, and then we have Enmore, followed by Clarendon and Magdalena.
There we go. So that's the order we're going to taste in.
Yes. And I have prepared the presentation, so you will see exactly what we are drinking at the time. So we can share the presentation now. Should I do it or you unlock it?
No, you go ahead. I don't think I have it.
Yes, I believe this is this one.
Yep.
Sharing presentation on Zoom is still new to me, so okay. But anyway, now what am I clicking? Am I clicking this one? No, I'm not clicking. You can see some tabs here. Yep. I'm keeping them open because I want to share photos and videos too from the distilleries because we visited them this year. So that's why I keep them open. Yes, so this is Safety Begins Here. This is a very common sign when you see when you enter the distillery, and why I put it here, but we already talked about it because I wanted to remind you to get some water because we will be drinking pretty heavy stuff in terms of alcohol, volume of alcohol. But also I would like to tell you and share with you that all rums we bottled so far, they were all single cask strength with no caramel or sugar added. We don't add it ourselves, but also we choose casks that are like pure rums, I would say. This is our team, a part of it. The photo was taken in Guyana. So the smallest one is me. The guy in a green t-shirt is Jacob, who's the trader in our company. The guy in an orange t-shirt is Maciej, who's behind all the labels, bottle design, all the logistics, etc. The man in a purple t-shirt is Maciej, who's our CEO, and he's been the CEO from the very beginning. And at the back, there's a Dominic, who I've been like enjoying going to all the trade shows so far. So our portfolio, we have so far bottled 45 expressions. This is Jamaica. So as you know, there are 6 running rum distilleries in Jamaica. So we've bottled rums from 5 of them, apart from Appleton Estate. But so far we've covered Clarendon, Wharfie Park, Long Pond, New Yarmouth, and Hampden. And we don't want to stop, but we will be growing this portfolio. Another country that we bottled rum from is Guadeloupe. All 3 rums are from Damoiseau and Oral molasses-based. This is just a part of our Foursquare portfolio because we love Foursquare, so we bottle much more that you can see here, but we just love it. And I think why we bottled so many of them is because we think there's much more to Foursquare than the original bottlings can show. And we hope you're gonna see it from the 2 Foursquares we'll be sharing and sipping tonight. So that's my point of view. For Caronis, so the silent distillery from Trinidad. And this is the portfolio from Guyana, consisting of Uitvlugt, Diamond, and Enmore. So, okay, and a little bit bragging moment because out of the 45 expressions we've done so far, probably you know the critic Serge Valentin. He's usually done like I don't know how many, like 10,000, 100,000 of notes of whiskey, but he so we have 45 expressions, and he scored 13 for more than 90 points, and all the rest are between 85 and 90. So we're kind of happy and we like to brag about it. But yeah, that was my moment. Okay, now we're going to the tasting part already. I hope you are ready. So this is Foursquare. Have any one of you been to Foursquare Distillery? Yes, I can see some people. So Foursquare is a little bit different when you visit them because it's like a self-paced tour. Yeah, you can visit them almost any time. You don't need a special timing or guide. You just visit them. You just go. I will show you pictures from there, but this is what's unique from the distillery. So why we'll be trying the, I have my sweet little samples with me because I'm not bringing big bottles to Slovenia. So I'm just gonna pour myself also a little bit of Foursquare. So this is the number 1 Foursquare we are trying today. And this one has spent 8 years in the tropics, and the rest on the continent, so in the UK. I guess this is why it still is like 61%. That's when the favorite parts come, like can you smell the fruitiness or raisin sweetness, or what can you smell? I'm really always curious what people can smell, if that Foursquare reminds you of the like original Foursquare, if it's any different, if it's more like whiskey maybe, because some Foursquare could be more like whiskey. I would like to hear from you.
So we did a tasting of Foursquare rum back in 2020, actually. It was our first rum tasting that we ever did with Richard Seal. And as you can imagine, that was very well attended and people really enjoyed it.
I believe so, yeah.
And then
I haven't been drinking a lot of rum lately. This one was quite delicious. I did get the raisin. I almost want to say like a smoky or a cooked molasses. Maybe I'm thinking of like brown butter, but it's like a smoky molasses. I can't describe it. I can't think of a better way to describe it, but very, very good.
Or is it like caramelized? Like
maybe that's a better.
I know what you're talking
maybe
about.
it's cooked caramel or smoky or charred caramel. I don't know, but it was
something burned, like something maybe cookies
a little
burned
bit
with caramel.
I want to say old, but old has a negative connotation. It was a very good, you know, yeah, it was very tasty and yeah, no, very, very good. But the raisins definitely come through also.
It's like a buttery toffee to me.
Yeah, like an English toffee.
Like an English toffee, maybe.
I think apart from the caramel, I get a nice, like almost citrusy peach kind of on the nose. Fruity.
But can you smell anything herbal also here? Or just sweetness? Or maybe it's just me. So if I'm switching the tab to this one, can you see the photos? Or can you see the presentation?
Yes.
We can see the receipt. Yep.
Photos.
Yes, okay, that's cool. That's cool because I wanted to share some pictures and the videos from the distillery review. So the moment this happened in May this year. So we wanted to go to Barbados. We had to transfer in London. And once we landed in London, they told us, oh, you know what? Your tickets got suspended. And we say, what? How this can happen? What's going on? Is the flight canceled? Because I very much wanted to take a picture like Gail does with my sneakers. Hey, I'm going to Barbados. I'm so fancy rum and etc. Right? And then we got this information. No, your tickets got suspended, actually canceled. You cannot fly to Barbados. So we spent like 2 very nervous hours on the airport, struggling with the Virgin Atlantic and also Kiwi portal because we got our tickets via Kiwi portal. But eventually we flew to Barbados, and in the evening, already at our hotel, there were plenty of Foursquare. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, but I thought, okay, I'm flying to Barbados, but I didn't expect the bar to be so full of Foursquare, and also the new ones. So we already could taste the Touchstone, which I really like. I think much better than the Isonomy. And the next day, we went to visit the distillery. So this is the entrance. Not very pretty weather, but okay, we're gonna be visiting distillery. That's the fun, right? So as I told you, the distillery tour is something you can do by yourself. You don't need a guide. everywhere you go, you're gonna see like big banners or posters saying, oh, here's the fermentation part, here's the distillation part, and also explained, not only said, just a title, fermentation, oh, that's it, and then you have to figure out what's going on there. No, there's much more information about it. That's also in front of the entrance. If you want me to stop at any of the pictures, please tell me. Yeah, because I don't know if you can raise a hand in in Zoom, but just tell me. But we had Gail as our guide, so it's always nicer when she is a guide. She is an awesome woman, really. So this is the part.
I love when you come to the door and get that sound. So good. We do, or I'm guessing you guys have ingredients around water. I love when you come.
So as you saw, this is a very big open area. So the part which is visible right now, these are their fermentation tanks. These are really big fermentation tanks because each can hold up to 44,000 liters. And what you saw then later, this is the cask area, the place, the cask filling area. And as I mentioned earlier, big signs telling you what's going on here, how long the fermentation takes. So the fermentation at Foursquare usually takes between 44 and 48 hours. And they do two types of fermentation, molasses-based and cane juice-based. So the 44-hour is the molasses-based fermentation, and the cane juice is days up to 2 weeks even. So we were moving along. That's a closer look at it. So that's the cask filling area. We're gonna be back to that area later on. Everywhere we go, we are taking our bottles and just trying to take some cool pictures with the distillery in the back. A little bit of history. So as you probably know, the Foursquare, I wanted to say Foursquare family, but the Seal family dates back to like 1820. But actually the moment when they started distillery was 1995 with their first bottling in 1996. They are one of the most influential even rum families and rum producers in the world. They've also been called the Puppy of Rum, like the reference to Puppy of Winkel. So we're moving along. I'm taking pictures anywhere I look. I'm like a Japanese tourist, just taking thousands of pictures. And now we are moving to the stills area. What we can see here, it's a pot still. They have a 3-column still that was, I wanted to say upgraded, but anyhow fixed by the Italian company Green Engineering. This is the same applies to the pot still, which we can see here, which is like the Foresight double retort still, but also kind of upgraded with by the Italian company Green Engineering. The distillation here at the pot still takes from hours up to 1 day. And what we get after the distillation is 82% ABV spirit. What we will get after the distillation, after the column distillation, is around 94% ABV. But anyway, we know that like 99% of all Foursquare rums are combined, right? So this is a mix of pot still and column still. They rarely do just a pot still. I've never heard of Foursquare having like a column just purely column still rum. Still some pictures of the pot still from any angle I could, I don't know, stand in front of it, below it, above it, whatever I could get my hands on. And the column still here. The high wines and low wines retorts.
Not to interrupt, this is David from KNL, but
Yes.
I do believe the 98. Did we have a 98 Colors of Rum Foursquare?
Yes.
Think I think we determined that that was after all 100% column because the pots were not operational in 98. So if anybody wants a very unusual oddity, maybe it was the 99. I'm so sorry. I think it's the 99.
The one we're tasting is the 99.
Yeah, I think that's all column. I think that's all column. But we might have to check with
Okay. Yes. Yes. Then I will check it definitely.
because I remember there was some controversy about whether the pots were yet built, and we determined that they couldn't have been, so it must be column. Unless that's I think I have some information about that.
Wow.
Yeah. It says all column. There you go. Some of the first juice that they ever bottled.
Okay.
In any case.
And that's what we're tasting now, I think.
Yeah. There
Very-
you go.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Yeah,
Hey.
no worries, guys. This is
Yeah.
really fun. I'm at the store, so trying to work and listen, but a lot of great information. Are you guys enjoying yourselves?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'm here if you have any questions for KNL.
All right. Thanks, David.
Cheers.
Thank
So
you.
question, Magda, question. Do they combine the pot and column still spirits before casking or after maturation?
As far as I know, they do it before and after. Yeah. And so we can because there are not that many pictures, fortunately, because we will be ending this presentation like in 4 hours, not in 2 hours time from now on. We can move to the second Foursquare RAM if you are ready. If not, then I will be continuing with the photo and video presentation anyway.
Magda, I noticed they're both bottled at 61%. Is that just coincidence that they both came out cast strength at 61?
Yes, this is just coincidence that it's 61.
Okay.
Yeah. So is it okay if we move to the second RAM or
Yeah, let's do them side by side. We're doing the 22
okay.
together.
Yeah. Okay, so the second one, so this is the 2006, which has spent 14 years in the tropics.
Oh wow.
Also 1%. Yeah, this one was much longer age in the tropics. And also it spent like 14 years in American white oak and ex-bourbon. And here I will have a question to you. If it smells or tastes to you more like a whiskey than rum, I'm really curious about your opinion. But while you are, smelling and digesting that information, I can continue here. There's like a fun fact because you know that sugarcane was introduced to Barbados in 1637. So by the 1640s, Barbados was already distilling rum, but at the time it was called Kill Devil. You know it from other rum, other bottles, other rum brand it's called Kill Devil. And the Kill Devil was described as hot, hellish, and terrible liquor. And I'm just like hoping that the one you are trying now is not hellish and terrible. but this is what Kill Devil meant to Barbadian like 300 more, actually, almost 400 years ago. So yeah, we are still at the cask area. We also, this is all stickers they put on the cask. This is a quite fresh cask. Not sure it was filled already or not. And this is the moment when somebody was regorging, yeah, like checking what's inside the already filled cask. How much ABV the alcohol has. Still some pictures from the distillery and the casks. Some 4-year-old rum. Some very pretty new one. High ester rum. This year I had the opportunity to try what was it, like 2,500 esters. That was the guys from Plantation Rum. They had like like an almost dummy bottle with that ester, with that high ester rum, but it's illegal, at least in Jamaica, right, to do higher than 1,700, like 1,600 something ester rum. But well, you can still do it, and they usually use it in blends. If they do, they would use it in blends. And to be honest, that 2,000 something, I don't remember if it was 500 or 700 now ester rum. It doesn't make much difference. But I don't know, my tasting buds didn't taste any difference between the 1,700. It was all about that nail polish remover still, right? But it was more as something funny than really something to put side on side and check, what is it? How does it taste? Is it better? Is it worse?
So can you talk a little bit about esters? Is that, when I think of esters, to me, I think of like peat and whiskey, right? So kind of that same scenario. Like what are esters, and how do we look for them, and just explain what they are?
Yeah, sure, of course. I can also start with like before we go into esters, like the first ingredient we need is the sugarcane, right? So we extract the juice from sugarcane. Then when the juice is heated, water evaporates and the liquid thickens, right? So, and then what is starting to form are sucrose crystals, right? And they are removed from the liquid. That step could be repeated. And the thick liquid that remains is molasses. Okay, so now we have molasses, and also we can have sugarcane juice to prepare to produce rum. But anyway, every rum distillery will have their own strain of yeast, right? And even the strain, the yeast itself will impact the flavor and the taste of rum, which is for me totally fascinating. I thought that the fermentation process as a whole, or the distillation process as a whole, really impacts the final flavor, but not really that. Not only that, but also the type of yeast that you use for the fermentation, that is already impacting the final flavor. So, and also the a distiller can determine how far along. Not only how far, okay, this will come later, but they can decide, how much we use of the yeast, and how long is the fermentation, how long is the distillation, when do we make the so-called cuts. So I guess with the own strain of yeast, it's pretty much the same like with bourbon. I'm guessing. Is it?
Yeah,
Is it
very
pretty
similar.
much? Okay, that's pretty. So it's pretty much the same. Yeah. We'll be coming to the yeast and maybe also to congeners, because it's also a good ingredient, I would call it, to mention. Water, right, and ethanol have like little or no taste. So what we get the taste from are the organic compounds, right? So that includes so-called congeners and before mentioned esters, and also organic acids, but also alcohol, right? So we get flavor and taste from all of them. I was thinking maybe, okay, I can continue now but I could also talk more about esters when we touch Jamaican rams, because there will be more maybe topic about dander and mac.
Sure.
Well, as you wish.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay. There are not that many esters, I mean high esters in Foursquare, fortunately or unfortunately. Let me check. Okay, so now I need to remind myself what was that place behind that glass. If they were sticking some labels here or they were checking something.
I think that's where they bottle the water.
Oh, just bottling the water. Okay, because because they also do a lot of, that's cool about most of the distilleries, that they do a lot of, recycling and sustainability stuff, because they would use the carbon dioxide for water, right? And not just leave it somewhere in the air. So that is the bottling facility and park around Foursquare, and that's a bar. So you can drink any bottle from here, but one, and I will show you which one. You can also buy some bottles. I've never seen them in Europe, so that's like if someone is very much into Barbados and Foursquare rum, that's really a treat. This is the bottle they won't open and they won't sell you. 1998 vintage. We tried.
Is that their first one, or why is that?
Well, that's I believe that's one of the first ones, right? And maybe that's the only one from the first ones that they still kept. So that's a rarity, and also that goes pretty high in the auctions. So they want to keep it. Also, when you are in the Foursquare distillery, you can visit Richard and Gail, not that private bar, but anyway, the bar when they let you choose the selection of rums you want to try. This is our CEO, Maciej, with our private cask selection we did with Foursquare 5 years ago, I believe. And this was the very first rum bottling we did. And this is the lineup we chose to try. I think the Master Series for me was really the best out of all the original Foursquares, original bottlings. And yeah, some close-ups. And Gail. Okay. Should I open the chat? Are there questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay. Oh, the tasting notes. Okay.
If anybody wants to share or ask
Yeah.
anything, feel free.
Yes, please tell me more. This is I believe that everything I'm telling you is nothing new to you. So what you are telling me will be actually very new to me. So I'm very interested in that.
I actually found it kind of interesting to taste the two of them side by side.
Mhm.
Cask strength is a little hard for me because usually all I can taste is alcohol, but I'm able to get a little bit of flavor and nose off of both of them. And I did get that same herbaceous note on the 99 that you were talking about.
Mhm.
It's like a grassy note, like not quite a lemongrass. It's not that spicy, but it does come through on the palate. It's very butterscotchy, but it's got that bite like a lemongrass, that little tiny bit of spice. But the 06 is, I got much more of the creme brulee sugar note on the palate. Very buttery, very creamy. Not much on the herbaceous side at all. So I found it really interesting to taste them side by side to see the variation, just even with what is that, 8 years apart. It's just fascinating. Really good stuff.
Cool, thank you. But was it the second one? Was it like more into whiskey to you or not?
Actually, I would almost think that the 99 would be more whiskey like to me because of the spice.
Yeah.
It has a little bit more heat on it. I mean, considering they're basically the same proof, it was really interesting. But I could see both of them appealing to a whiskey drinker because they have that same characteristic. Where
Yeah.
you've got the barrel influence on it and all of the other stuff. You know, this is not the rum I grew up drinking in college. So, you know, this is much more interesting stuff. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
I found the 2006 to be more astringent. There was like the wood astringency. Which, yeah, you know, new oak. I don't know how long it spent in that new oak, but even a few years is a long time in a hot place like that.
Yeah, that's it started to become very, you know, fascinating for me to see and experience by myself how much of the influence have, like they mentioned yeast, right? And then wood at the very end. I would really love to see like a comparison when we have like the same rum, but with like different different proportion. Like this one had more that portion of yeast, the one a little bit less, say, right? And here we have the fermentation taking, I don't know, a day longer to see how much it really differs if we as the, you know, just typical people, not master distillers, can we really taste the difference. But that's, yeah, that's what's really taking very some of my free time to digest that information. Okay, so if we are done, I would say, with Foursquare, let's just move a little bit south to Guyana. This is what we can see here on the slide. This is Uitvlugt sugar factory. Now it's a warehouse. We start with Uitvlugt, then we gonna move to Enmore. So some facts about Guyana, yeah. So Guyana was called, or I don't believe that still is, but the land of many waters. which is no, it's not like it's called. It's what the name means actually. So it is called. Sorry for the confusion. The land of many waters. It comes from Dutch, right? Because Dutch were the first one to occupy the Demerara region. Not only the Demerara, but the Demerara is the name of the river, and next to Demerara, more north, is the Essequibo River, a bigger river. So the Dutch occupied colonies, because at that time, like 400 years ago, these were colonies. And Uitvlugt comes from the word meaning like flying out or rushing out, which is the reference to the fast-flowing Demerara River. So when we go back to 1780, there were more than 300 distilleries in British Guiana, each of them producing their own rum, 300. So like fast forward the beginning of the 20th century, there were a little bit more than 40. Then fast forward 50 years, 8. Today, there's 1. So there's only Demerara Distillers Limited producing Diamond brand, and some independent bottlers buying casks like we did. And only recently, Demerara, so DDL in short, started aging their rums and bottling. So starting aging and bottling as, say, Long Pond with a specific vintage, right? Because what they do with Diamond is a blend of 4 rums. So they didn't, in the previous years, they didn't do any, I would say, single cask bottlings. They only started it very recently. So like the late 18th century, British Guiana, so Guyana was first Dutch, then British took it to Guyana in the beginning of the 19th century. And the later in that century, British Guiana made more than 3 million gallons of rum, surpassing Jamaican output. So it was the British, it was the biggest British colonial rum producers. Uitvlugt as a distillery was founded 1750 and closed in 2000. Yeah, so when we visit Distiller, let me choose now the, no. Here. So when we visit Uitvlugt, when we visit the distillery right now, we're gonna enter one big, very spacious room with all the so-called heritage stills. But before we go there, we as Polish citizens, we need a visa. That was a surprise. So we've got our tickets booked, we've got our meetings booked, and Dominic was like very active one night, like 3 weeks before departure, and says, hey, do you know that we need a visa to enter Guyana? Yeah, so, and there are only 2 places in Europe where we could get visa. It's either in Brussels or in London. So Dominic was flying to Brussels with all our passports and all our forms filled to get us a visa. Not sure you need a visa, but just in case you would need, just check it before you book your flights to Guyana.
Why does it feel like Guyana would be one of those countries that you can just pay for the visa when you land there? Like with Turkey, you just pay the $15 fee or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not possible, unfortunately, because we checked it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I don't know when they came up with those visa stuff, but maybe with all those, you know, they found oil, right, a few years ago, and now they're thinking that everyone wants to settle down in Guyana. So let's do some visa stuff before we let them enter the country. I'm just being a little sarcastic, but just like, it's a little bit too bureaucratic for me. These are pictures of the Merara River from the plane. And as you see all those houses here, so those houses are in the place where the old like sugar and rum factories were like 300 or 400 years ago. Everything along the Merara River was actually dedicated to sugar and rum some time ago, everything. This is also the Merara River. Very nice, beautiful picture school. The Georgetown, so the capital of Guyana, is its architecture is very colonial, as you can see. There are no actually modern buildings, maybe apart from a few hotels that were recently built. When you enter the city, it's either something like looks like totally ruined, and it is a ruin. But as a short video driving through. So it didn't look like a country that you really need a visa, right? It's like looks like more like an African country. So, but yeah. Anyway, moving to the part that is more interesting. We are getting closer to DDL, and now we're gonna start the tour. So you have your outflat ready. Some more nosing, tasting, as I will be showing you the pictures. Okay, this is another sign apart from safety starts here that every plant has to brag how many days they worked without injury. Never seen it in Poland. I don't know, maybe it's also something that you're not gonna see in more developed countries, only in those like in Africa or South America, and maybe in some parts of Asia too. This is where you enter the facility. You can see all the colors, so it's not really gray or black or white, but the pipes are painted. I don't know how the other parts are called, but anyway, everything is painted in a different color, which gives like a very nice vibe to it. So we are moving along. We are first at the yeast plant with the yeast tanks. Now I'm waiting. So I'm very sorry for the sounds, but these are the true sounds from the distillery. And literally, when you enter this distillery, it's really loud. You cannot hear what the guide is saying unless you're like standing just next to him or her, right? So we are entering the area they call the heritage stills, right? So we're gonna see all the heritage, all the most, I would say, most famous stills in the world under literally one roof. First, we see, so here you can see the coffee still, the analyzer column. Then we're gonna move to outflat, which is I'm taking pictures of the Savaia still because this is Savaia still is making outflat. This is one of the columns here. Me taking pictures. And that's the result. Not very nice, I know, but yeah, trying hard to take pictures everywhere I can. And So what's cool, before I move further, although you can see the Enmore steel already here in the back, what's cool about the Savale steel, excuse me, is that it's a 4-column steel and it's highly flexible. So it means that it allows you to create different types of distillates, ranging between diamond makes 24 marks, and that steel can make 24 marks, different marks. Yeah, so it's very different. And they used to even do Skeldon there, but they moved the production of Skeldon to the coffee still. But they still do Blermont, Albion, Uitvlugt, of course, and La Bonne Intention. And now we are moving closer to the most famous ones. Yet the rectifier you see on the left, that belongs to the Port Mouron. The rectifier on the right, that belongs to Versailles. And the one column, green heart column, red column, is the Enmore. So this is the Versailles steel here in the middle. And the close-up of that steel, and some short clip is coming.
Right, so the double wooden faucet.
Did we taste the Enmore and the Uitvlugt together, like side by side? Seems like the smart thing to do.
So the Port Mouron, which we've seen, so the one we've the one we just seen on the photo here, is, I don't know if it's the most famous for you. Well, for me, it's the most famous still, ram still. It was established in 1732. It's totally made of wood, apart from the necks, right? Made of copper. But it's the same. I mean, this is the wood that we see. It's the wood from also 1732. They do repair it from time to time, but they don't repair the whole steel. They just take the part of the wood that needs repairing, right? But it doesn't mean that it needs replacement, that it needs like a new wood. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The same applies to the Enmore steel, because it's also made of green hardwood. But it's still the same green hardwood as it was in the 18th century. That's we can see it here well, but the parts in between, these are the lower parts of the Port Mouron steel. This is the gooseneck, double retort, but this is the diamond high ester steel. And we're gonna be getting closer to the Enmore steel. These were, at the time that we were there, these were not operating, I mean, these were not producing rum. They were doing some fixes or cleaning. No, they were doing cleaning. So we don't see them like fully operational here. But anyway, it was pretty noisy. So getting closer. Again, the high ester steel. And as you can see, these are all under one roof, actually next to each other, right? They don't change their position at all. They just there. Taking selfies. And this is wood. The Enmore wooden coffee still is made of wood. It's also not it doesn't have the circle shape, right? It has a rectangular shape. As you can see, the plates in there are actually rectangular. They're not like a column in the shape of circle. That's also very unusual. And the red paint, this is the original red paint dating back to 1732. So, have you tried the Uitvlugt yet?
Yeah, I think everybody's sipping on it.
Okay. Okay, just anytime you're ready, let me know what you think.
And like I mentioned earlier, would it make sense to do the Uitvlugt next to the Enmore side by side, since they're the same place?
These are different stills, so you will get different flavors, although they are both made of green hardwood, right? But the Enmore is the column still, and the Uitvlugt was made on a Port steel. But it makes sense, of course. Why? I would say, why not?
I thought I was really, the Outlook got almost a wheatgrass note on the palate.
Mhm.
Very, very grassy with a bit of an herbal sort of finish, but the
Mhm.
notes almost like golden syrup.
Oh,
So there's it's not like super sweet, but it has that kind of note to it. But
Mhm.
it's really fascinating. And I'm kind of like staring at these stills and completely gobsmacked that they have wooden stills from the 1700s that are still functional. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, the green wood itself is very thick, right? So that's why they are still they still use it.
Super.
Apart from us getting that, nice woody heavy notes from the wood itself. But anyone getting like some really saltiness from that rum? I'm a fan of salt in whiskey, like we have it that in Springbank, for example. I'm really fan of like those mineral notes. So maybe that's why I'm getting it here. But maybe it's my, like a wish, because I would like to get that saltiness from any rum or whiskey, because I really enjoy it.
I kind of get a little bit of that salinity, but it's sort of like an incidental, not like part of the main note from it. One of the guys in the chat said he got a little biscuit note underneath a soapy note. And I kind of, the biscuit part, I kind of understand. It's got that nice mouthfeel where it's damn good.
Yeah, if you want to see how the old rums were made, like in those old surroundings, and maybe not old. I'm talking about the old surroundings, about the Georgetown, etc., not the place itself, because that building is not very fancy or old or nice. But yeah, that's I think that's good enough to visit Guyana. I don't know from where you are, but I guess it's much closer than from Poland. So hop on the plane, see it.
Didn't expect to be adding Guyana as a destination to my bucket list from a tasting.
Yes, you should definitely do. Yeah. But also check whether you need to get also some pretty strange vaccinations, because we had to take, I don't know, like 2 like yellow fever, and I'm sorry, but I don't know the English name for the other one. But I was really surprised that, I thought I was going to like more like a civilized city or place, but apparently deadly mosquitoes are flying there. So just be prepared. So the next rum we have is Enmore, which is also a pretty old one. I mean, also the rum itself, but also the rum as a distillery. So what we have here is the 33 years old rum and totally continental aging. Yeah, so the 48% is a little bit, I would say, surprising, taken into account that it's totally continental aging, right? So I'm asking myself, what happened that the ABV is so low? Because usually the ABV is like not it's much higher. But I've seen it already with Guyanese rum. We've had that Uitvlugt that was 48.4%, right? This one, that's also continental aging. But it doesn't taste continental to me at all. There is like much more in both of them. There's much more, I would say, like vibe, like high ester rum that it's like full of sometimes strange fruitiness, like coming from one side from like, I don't know, lemons, from other sides from gooseberries, but you also get that all different oils or even ointments in that single rum. And for me, I some time ago, I thought that only tropically aged rums could deliver such a full flavor rum, and the continental ones would be like, yeah, okay, it's nice, but I'm just like more shy. I taste good, it's okay, but I'm more shy.
Question, Magda.
Yeah.
So some company was picking up barrels and aging them in the continent, like UK or Europe, years ago, long before Colors of Rum. Who was doing this?
Main Rum. Yeah,
Okay.
company called Main Rum. They've been operating for, now I would have to Google it, but many years, because before we were doing rum, they've been doing whiskey. Yeah, so they are in the UK. They merged with a Dutch company. Surprise, surprise, Dutch, right? And I think they have any rum cask you've ever wanted and dreamed of from any place in the world.
And somebody in the chat asked, what is the definition of continental aging? Is that just aged in Europe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we've so far haven't seen casks being shipped. Although we don't ship casks, but we move rum to tanks and then we ship it and we again move them to casks. But anyway, just to be like short, we haven't seen casks being shipped from the tropical countries, so Caribbean countries, to say Asia, right? So far they've been shipped and sold to Europe only.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So who sat on it for 33 years? I'm guessing you guys didn't buy it. You bought it aged already.
Yes, we bought it aged already. Mm-hmm.
You're not buying unaged spirit and then aging yourselves.
Oh, we do.
You do? Okay.
We do. We started it, but quite recently. So yeah, we haven't bottled it yet. Although our friends and also competitors, they Rum Deluxe, they bottled 3 months old rum. Yeah, I've tried it in Berlin and it was delicious. But they moved it to was it like ex-Madeira casks, but really small ones, not like a big cask, like 300 liters, but they moved rums to like 30 liters, 40, 50 liters casks. And so in that scenario, you can get more flavor, right, from the smaller casks than from the big one. So they got like 3 months old rum. And I wouldn't guess that it's 3 months old. Yeah. But that's also quite, risky, right? Because you can oversee the moment when the rum is ready. With bigger cask, you can wait a day, 2, a week, 2, a month, 2, right? Until it gets the flavor you want, the taste you want. With the smaller cask, you need to, or maybe then you're lucky because you're trying the rum every day, and then in 2 months' time you say, sorry, the cask is gone. Yeah, so that could be the fun part of this job. Any other comments? Should be checking the chat as well. Okay, 7 new messages. It hurt my brain every time I tried to read it. But the outflat pronunciation, this is what they taught me in Guyana. You will hear the different pronunciations, whether you're in Europe or probably also whether you are in the US, wherever you go. But outflat is the way they pronounce it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to keep the outflat pronunciation. Yeah. Vanilla, yes. Cloudberry note on the palate. That's cool. Lemon curd. Okay. Okay, any more questions about, I don't know, DDL itself as a company, or they maybe a fun fact, because they cask the rum around 70% ABV, so a little bit lower than what it comes off the still. But they say it allows them to reduce the angel share from 11%, 11, that's quite a lot, to down to around like 5-7%. Yeah, so we have angel share in Europe, I mean, in Scotland mostly, right? Around 2%. The typical Caribbean angel share is around like 8 to 10%, and they used to have 11. So now we can move to the funky part. I just need some funky part myself from my handy samples. So I just need a second. Have you been to Jamaica? To Hampden? Yes, if someone's saying yes. Because I know that the Jamaica is a very nice, just, holiday destination. But I was wondering whether you, any time earlier in your lives, if you ever thought Jamaica, it was like Jamaica equals rum, or just Jamaica equals, I don't know, beaches, right? Holiday destination. Some cruising, because there are a lot of like Caribbean cruising around all those islands. It's, it's so far from here, I mean, from Poland, that no one is going to Jamaica for holidays, just too far away. So just asking about your opinion. What do you think about Jamaica? How you see Jamaica?
It's a place I've always wanted to go. Have not been there yet, but I tend to associate Jamaica with rum and bobsleds.
Oh, okay.
I think the Caribbean is a popular destination for East Coasters, like New York people.
Mhm.
LA people tend to go to Hawaii for tropical paradise.
Okay.
Well, and don't forget Olympic sprinters.
Okay,
yeah.
but
I've been to Jamaica a couple times on those aforementioned cruises, and it's definitely been interesting.
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, but I guess that such a cruise is like a week is not enough, and you should stay like 3 weeks there. So Jamaica was among the earliest rum producers. So not only Barbados, but also Jamaica. So we have like late in 17th century. And by actually 19th century, Jamaica was producing already 23 million liters of rum. So we have 6 distilleries right now. It used to be, if I remember it correctly, like 150, right? So, you know, sugar prices dropped, like it's actually all due to sugar prices that they dropped in the 17th century, that all those sugar factories were closing down. And now we only have 6 distilleries, but they produce I think, like, you know, Jamaica was producing like those 23 million liters of rum 200 years ago, but Clarendon now makes 15 million liters. Clarendon itself. So it's, but at 90%, because we are now moving to Clarendon, so we'll be just talking a little bit about Clarendon. 90% of Clarendon production goes to Diageo. Yeah, and because it goes to Diageo, it also goes to Captain Morgan. Yay, or nay, rather nay, but yeah, well, we can use it in some cocktails. So Clarendon and Monymusk. So I've also heard the pronunciation Monymusk, but I'll stick to Monymusk now. So the distillery was once known as Monymusk, and it consisted of both sugar mill and distillery. Now these 2 names are synonymous because synonymous regarding sugar and rum production. And the rum distillation at Monymusk dates back to the late 18th century. And by 1978, the rum making operations were renamed Clarendon. And Clarendon and Monymusk are part of the National Rums of Jamaica. And the National Rums of Jamaica is an equal freeway partnership between the Jamaican government, Maison Ferron, so the owner of Plantation Rum, which is the parent company of the West Indies Rum Distillery in Barbados, and Demerara Distillers Limited of Guyana. So Clarendon is 73% owned by National Rums of Jamaica, and the rest, so 27%, by the biggest customer and the world's largest company, spirits company, so Diageo. Yeah. So they make 15 million liters of rum, which translates into around 30 million liters of, 15 million liters of pure alcohol, which translates into 30 million liters of rum. So that makes around like 40 million bottles. Yeah. What we have today is one of our fans' favorites, Clarendon. Not only that it's one of the favorites, but among the Clarendon, it's one of the favorites. So it's nice that we have it here. It is 25 years old and it spent 22 years in the tropics, so very tropical flavors inside, with also 67% ABV. So I hope you also have your water ready just to clear your palate maybe after. Let me show you some funny pictures from Clarendon. So yeah, this is not Clarendon. This is just a shop next to Clarendon, because we wanted to visit Clarendon, and a very strong and angry looking lady told us you cannot enter in, like, you know, shorts and t-shirts. You have to have everything long sleeve. And you're like, hey, it's like 40 degrees here. So it translates probably to, I don't know, 110 Fahrenheit, right? And we're gonna be, I don't know, we're gonna boil ourselves. But anyway, well, she was stubborn, and we had to buy clothes, trousers, in the shop nearby. And then only then we could enter the facility. We can see the 4 columns still here. This is the photo you are already familiar with. Again, safety first. And now we're getting our helmets. Looking sexy. Yeah. Signing ourselves. And welcome to the distillery. You see how sexy we look in all those good trousers and those white helmets and white t-shirts. Yeah, now we have more colorful t-shirts because we're colors of rum. So here we are. Clarendon makes both like light and heavy pot still rum. They use commercial yeast, propagated yeast, and wild yeast. They also have 24 open-topped fermentation tanks. I'm gonna see a short clip from inside. Loud. I'm also sorry about the noise. And they were cleaning something. And so the light fermentation takes between like up to 40 hours, and the heavy fermentation from 2 to 4 weeks. We're gonna see now the pictures of the pot stills. They have 2 pot stills. So you can see the gooseneck and the retorts just behind me. And the pot still at its glory. They don't look very clean. If you ever go to Wharfie Park when everything is so new and clean and doesn't even have a scratch, when you go to other distilleries, you're gonna see the pot stills as they looked like 200 years ago. And that's awesome, actually, because all that cleanness is like, do you really make good rum here? I love Wharfie Park, but I'm just, saying that, to me, it's all those ugliness that makes the vibe in that atmosphere, and not that very, how to call it, hygienic look. Although I know it's a laboratory, it's actually could be very hygienic, right? This is the spirit safe. So this is where the master distillers also make some magic, because they do the cuts here. They see where the heads, hearts, and tails are, and they measure the alcohol. this is the old sugar factory. They don't use it any longer. Domestic water tank. And we'll be moving to the okay, sorry. We'll be moving to the column steel area. So this one, they have 4 column steels. And the fermentation tanks. Oh, this was fun actually to see that the Clarendon Distillers was actually co-funded by the European Union. Okay. The fermentation tanks they use for the column distillation are sealed, and they have, these are all, so they have 4 fermentation tanks here, and this is huge. Like we are talking literally, you can see a man here like walking, right? So I don't know how many stories it has, but probably 5 or 6 would be 5 stories building here. It's really big, it's really high, or even more. Settling tank and a sensory laboratory. I can easily see myself working for this in one, where this is a blurry photo, but just imagine that you enter the laboratory when you can ask for any sample from any cask you want and say, no, it's not ready yet. Will you wait 2 more months? Next, please. Yeah. I believe their job is much more demanding, but this is the way I see it, and that's the dream job. If there's a dream job, that's my dream job. There's no other dream job for me. So how's the Clarendon?
I love it. It's my favorite. I wanted to see if you can talk to us a little bit about kind of like muck and dunder. Is that similar to like sour mashing and whiskey?
Yeah, it is. It actually is. It's I don't know how similar it is, to be honest. But so dunder is what remains in the still after distillation completes, right? So it's full of various acids, organic components, and also dead yeast cells. Yeah. So it's, so that would be what you call sour mash process, right? In whiskey making or bourbon making. Is it sour mash? I'm asking if it's the way you call it.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. I think the sour mash process is what's left after fermentation, not after distillation.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it's like using like previous stillage would be a sour mash, but okay, yeah. Because dunder is what's left after the distillation, right? And muck is, well, muck is actually a bacterial soup of all kind of acids. So it's not a part of the initial mask recipe. It's added after fermentation is completed, but several days before distillation. So what muck does, it induces a bacterial fermentation that creates even more complicated acids. Yeah, and those acids combined with alcohol, and they create heavier and more complex rums. So like there was a question about esters like earlier. So in simple terms, right? So 1 alcohol molecule plus 1 acid molecule, and we have ester. Yeah, so we have the one of the most favorite or popular esters is the ethyl butyrate that smells like smells of pineapple. And this is a combination of ethanol and butyric acid molecule.
Yeah, I think the question might have been related to this sort of infamous Jamaican dunder pits and what they put in them to get that fermentation process going.
Yeah, they don't put any dead animals, I'm afraid. So, but they do, you know, obviously the dunder is just what remains after the distillation. So there was that here. Okay, we're gonna see it in Hampden. So you're gonna see just a liquid being like poured down, and this is just liquid into that dunder tank, right? So that like a pool where that liquid is gathered. But this is actually mug that is a kind of a secret sauce of the distilleries. And I would say that each of the distilleries, they have their own mug recipe and process, not only recipe, but also process. If there are some dead buds inside of it, oh, it's delicious anyway, right? But I strongly believe there are no dead animals inside, but just really a bacterial soup of any kind of acids.
Yeah, that's right. More historical or allegory, even, right?
Yeah. So before we entered Hampden, we drove there from the wrong direction, and I just saw, you know, a car with sugar cane in their tank. This is, yeah, tank, you say? I'm sorry.
Trunk, but yeah.
Trunk, not tank. Yeah, thunder tank and trunk, yes. So I was wondering if someone is just getting some sugarcane home or what's the idea here. But anyway, it was pretty funny. Or maybe it was an inside joke. I never know. So we are arriving at, so excuse me, Hampden. I need some rum. Definitely. So the way you enter the distillery is a beautiful alley of palm trees. This is how it looks. And then you will be...
To jest właśnie Great House?
Video stopped somewhere here. I'm sorry. Again, this is the Great House. We're gonna see it again later. This is the Great House again. This is the entrance for the ram tour. Again, some signatures. And you're getting a delicious ram punch in the beginning. And there are a lot of peacocks around. I've never seen so many peacocks just walking around, almost as if they were pets. You're getting nice blue helmets, and the tour begins. So you're passing the Great House again, and obviously safety first. How many days from the last accident? And this is the entrance to the distillery. A little bit funny, as you can see, with the bottle, or maybe someone pouring some rum into a glass. That's right, safety first. And we'll be passing by John Doerr still. And there are some pot stills inside that structure, I would say. Though it looks like a very old, I don't know, garage or maybe workshop to me. So there's a pot still and the John Doerr still here.
We got this one in 1994.
So you notice how everything looks old, right? And that it could be repainted at least, but no one's gonna do it. So we are entering the pot still area. Oh, this is the dunder tank. I'm gonna have a look again. This is the dunder tank. So you can see the dunder being poured down here from one of the pipes that's directly connected with the pot still. If something falls down here, okay, that's also part of their secret sauce, but they don't add it consciously, I would say. Again, a clip from the dunder tank. You know, some 100 views of the dunder tanks, yeah, by myself. And pot stills. So Hampden has 5 pot stills. We're gonna come back to this, but photos are sorted by date, so and time when they were made. So first we had to look at the molasses tank. So this structure behind us, it's a molasses tank with this is the fermentation area where we were not allowed to take pictures, so we can only see it from the outside, but you can see the fermentation tanks painted white. And the pot stills are here behind Dominic on the left, and the fermentation tanks is, I would say, on our left hand side side. The molasses tank again. This is Pepe, our guide, and not only our, but
It's inside. You take it anywhere else. Photos. We repurposed it and we started aging in barrels. So those barrels came from inside that your house. Things above, those are our changing bins.
Our Hampden in front of the fermentation tanks. It was not that smelly inside. I read so many blogs that it's horrible to be inside. It was not. Maybe we visited at a different, stage of fermentation, which was not that smelly. Yeah, Pepe investigating our bottle, some casks, some bad casks. And we're gonna move to the pot still area. They have 5 pot stills. So as you can hear, it's really loud everywhere there, in there, wherever you go. It's hot and loud and very humid. Yeah, the humidity is pretty high in the Caribbean. Our team.
100 degrees. Right? After how long is it? After the 2 weeks, the fermentation. So
Yeah, so here we wanted we saw the, yeah, it's difficult to say, but we didn't see it with our own eyes, but the distillery was working. So what Pepe was mentioning, that there was a temperature like more than 100 degrees. Yeah, so it was like fully operating, and every like parts of the liquid were evaporating at that moment. And with 100%, actually, it should be everything evaporating inside. Pot stills are pretty big. I've never imagined them smaller, but they're pretty big. So 5 pot stills in here. And Hampden is very distinct because they use that muck and dunder method, but also they also recycle it, right? So the 90% is sustainably reused and returned to cane fields, and 10% is reused. So there's
85.6.
checking the ABV here.
So that's 80.
The part where they were checking ABV again. And also some part of the sensory laboratory, the dream job of some people here. How cool would it be just to be there? So how's the Hampden? Pause here.
So funky, so weird, but so delicious.
So weird. Oh, wow.
It took some willpower for me to get past the nose, but once I tried it, it was delicious, especially the mid and the finish.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we're losing people. Let me throw that out there.
Do we know if what we're drinking is edition 4 or 5? I see that there's 2 available on Kano's website.
The one that I linked is the one that I bought. So check the event page. Let me check real quick. I have it open.
I think it's 4. Or sorry, the cask.
It is number 4, correct. I'll toss it into the chat.
Yeah, here.
If you don't mind, I'm going to kick you out of the share for just a second.
Yeah, sure. Just do it.
I do want to ask everyone to jump on camera and raise a glass, since we are in our last pour and I totally spaced on it. There we go. We're getting some participation. There we go. Andy's back. Benno. David's working. So, but I do want to say thank you, Magda, David, for helping to organize this, and thanks to all the participants for spending this Saturday afternoon with us. Cheers to everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, Vadim, for doing this. This is really cool, and Magda, really amazing presentation. Everybody, you know, these rums are for sale, so if you want them, now is your chance. We've got great pricing for those in the system right now. It won't last forever, but this is it. So get on it if you can.
Thank you, Dave.
Cheers, guys.
It's nice to be able to try something that's actually still available.
Yeah. Yeah, but not for long though. This, these are like for the US 20 to 30 bottles each. Like these are real seriously limited. So thank you again.
Thank you, David.
Cheers, guys.
I think everyone has voted on their favorite expression. Do you want to take a guess of what the group's favorite tonight was, or today?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I hope not the
Hamden.
I hope not.
No, I usually say Clarendon because this is the people's favorite, but tonight I wouldn't be that sure.
So it's a 1 in 6 chance.
Yeah. Okay, let's go for Hamden.
All right. The votes are in, and the results are 40% voted for Hamden.
What?
With Clarendon being a second favorite at 30%. So,
okay.
There you go. Those are very special rums.
Weirdos. I mean, I have a friend who loves Hampton, but when he opened a bottle of it in my kitchen one day, I was like, I had to leave the room.
It definitely has an interesting nose.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Yeah, that's why I'm usually saving the Hamden as for the last pour during the tastings, because it's the one that can overwhelm you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, Bino, I might have missed it. I don't know if you said this already, but which one was your favorite?
My favorite.
Unfortunately, I didn't get it.
His favorite. I don't know.
I missed the tasting, so I was just listening in. But Hampton would be my least favorite for sure.
Least favorite.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. My dad and I had a consensus that the Foursquare 15 was our favorite.
Oh.
Nice.
So the one I asked whether it was like a little bit whiskey to you.
It's,
It was
it's
good.
nice
I really
to
enjoyed it.
really like the most affordable one in the bunch.
Community.
But to me, both of the Foursquare are really different from the cask selection that Foursquare does, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are different, and that's why I like Foursquare even more, because if they only did their own regular stuff, I would say that they're all good, but nothing is like exciting me. And here is like, hey, they can excite me. That's so cool.
Enmore all day long.
All day long. Hey,
Yeah, that
cheers.
one was really good. I was kind of surprised. I'm like, okay, apparently I need to go to Guyana.
Yeah, you go to Guyana. That's the plan. That's the plan for just remember the visa stuff, vaccination stuff. You're good to go. So when it comes to my presentation, that's actually it. So maybe you have more questions or opinions or suggestions.
Anyone have any rum questions?
Yeah. Because I have one rum question to you, but
I have a question. What's the best rum you've ever had?
Albion 1994.
From?
Velia.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your opinion of Coroni?
I think there were like some of very good Caronis, but it's like the same with Foursquare. They are very similar to each other. There is a like big hype on Caroni because it's a silent distillery, so it cannot produce any longer.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the taste is very, similar, like non-gas Coca-Cola. And unfortunately, apart from like a few very distinct Caroni that I tried. Say like even 1980 30 vintage. 95% is actually the same to me. Unfortunately, also, like they are very strong, very heavy. This Coca-Cola taste smell is there, like without gas. So, but
flat Coke.
yeah, a little bit too flat to me. Yeah.
Interesting.
And what was your question to us?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So my question to you is, because we would like to visit some rum festivals next year, also exhibit there. Maybe you can suggest where we should go.
Wow.
What
I just
are the
posted in
things?
the chat, actually. There's a rum festival coming to LA on the 8th, and they were nice enough to give everybody
LA Rum Fest, September 8th. You should come.
Okay, so this September 8th.
Yep.
I'm gonna pass this information on Maciej, so the CEO, he's gonna like it.
The same group holds a festival in San Francisco also, and one in Miami. I've been to San Francisco and LA. I've never been to the Miami one, but heard good things about all of them.
Okay, but they will happen next year or also this year?
I think the Miami one already happened.
Okay.
LA is the date Vadim said, and
she's talking
in San Francisco.
2024. So it's an annual thing.
But it's an annual thing, yeah.
Rum Labs is the organization, and LA Rum Fest last year was the first one. This is the second one, but they're going to keep doing it, and they may be expanding cities too.
Okay, and the upcoming LA festival is also organized by the Rum Lab?
Yeah, they do them all.
Okay. Thank you.
It was my first time attending last year. It was a lot of fun. A lot of really good brands out there. So, yep.
Yeah, I also accept bad reviews. So if you have anything to add, like I should, expand the presentation or make it shorter or longer or talk more about some, geeky stuff, then I'm happy to hear every opinion.
No, that was great. Very detailed.
Thank you.
I thought this was great. It was nice to actually get to see some of these really super old distilleries and the still working stills and all of that stuff. So I think it's awesome.
Cool. Happy to hear that.
I had no idea there was such a thing as a wooden still still operating.
And
that just blows my mind. Wow.
Yeah, you can still get that wood from Guyana, the green hardwood. It's pretty expensive, but you can still get it and, build something with it, right?
Wow.
Yeah. You can try to the jungle and get it yourself, probably.
What's the method to the madness behind the colors assigned to the bottles?
Behind the name?
Well, so all the bottles, right, have different colors.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have like same vintages, but there'll be different colors. What goes into the decision of what color goes to what bottle?
Well, so in the very beginning, there was a very brilliant idea that we connect we match the colors with the country's flags, but we ran out of the colors soon. So
Well, you can just expand to the Crayola crayon box.
Oh yeah. Yeah. True. That's a fair point. Yeah. But we're gonna be, we stick, we'll continue the colors of rum, but we also be expanding to the colors of rum impressions. So you're gonna see a new bottle in whiskey during Whiskey Life in Paris. That's gonna be a bottle where the liquid was chosen by one of the industry experts. And we're going to dedicate the impressions, expressions, or edition to whiskey experts, rum experts, sorry. So we're going to have a new line. And yeah, I guess another new line that's coming also with the very new release that we also gonna publish it or announce it during Whiskey Life in Paris. So if you in need of travel to Europe, visit us in Paris. And at the end of October, I believe it's 22nd, 23rd of October. That's the biggest, one of two biggest whiskey and rum festivals in Europe, maybe even in the world, because there's a big one in London and another big one in Paris, and they're very much competing with each other. So no idea which one is bigger, but each of them wants to be bigger than the other. Yeah. Yeah. So the London one is organized by the Whiskey Exchange, and the Paris one is organized by La Maison de Whiskey.
Whiskey, yeah. The two of them want to one-up each other. It's good. Bigger, better.
Yes, yes, of course. So we're gonna be exhibiting in Paris with our new release. So, like, if you want to travel to Europe, just come to Paris as well. It's a nice city to visit, anyway.
I hear it doesn't suck, as we say.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. That's true.
I've heard worse ideas.
Yeah. So maybe if you have any other questions, maybe you can direct them to Vadim and he can forward them to me via email or chat, and then I will answer them with pleasure.
Okay, great. Yeah, if any more questions come up, I'll send them over to you.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
Thank
a
you.
good
Thank you,
Saturday.
Magda. Thank you. This was great.
Yeah, very awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.